The Labour Party conference has been a disaster. Sir Keir Starmer called Reform's immigration plans racist.
It's a completely different thing to say we are going to reach in to people who are lawfully here and start removing them. They are our neighbours.
That proposal is immoral, to deport people who are already here if they don't pass more stringent rules. Do you think it's a racist policy?
Well, I do think that it is a racist policy. I do think it's immoral. It needs to be called out for what it is.
Great, so then his Home Secretary announced basically the same policy, but in my opinion, slightly worse. Housing Secretary Steve Reeves was dishing out signed hats saying, "Build, baby, build." But then it turned out he has absolutely no idea how many houses he's actually built.
How many homes have you built so far under Labour?
Well, do you know how long it takes for a planning application to go through?
Just how many?
Do you know how long it takes?
Just give me the figure.
Well, we're currently dealing with
the figure.
We're currently dealing with the tail end of what the Conservatives were doing, because it takes more than 18 months from an application to the home being built.
Please answer the question. How many houses have been built under Labour so far?
Starts have gone up by 29%. What I can't do...
Can you give me a figure?
Well, I know it's really low, and I'm appalled by it as well, but that is because the Conservatives didn't get the applications
Please don't tell me you don't know the number. You don't know how many
homes? You only know it
homes?
because it's written in front of you.
Well, but I'm not in charge of housing. How can my producer have this figure and you not have it?
Well, because somebody's researched it for you and given it to you, and someone hasn't researched it for me and given it to me.
Sir Keir Starmer is facing a leadership challenge from Andy Burnham, who used a fringe event to slag him off.
I think I am worried about, and I think we do need to debate at this conference, in my view, is how can you have an open debate about all of those things if there's too much of a climate of fear within our party and the way the party is being run?
The Prime Minister sacked Lucy Powell, and if the polls are right, she's now about to be elected as his deputy leader. Rachel Reeves can't give a straight answer about VAT.
Are you going to... Can you rule out increasing VAT? It's a yes or no?
What I'm saying to you
No,
is
I've asked the question, can you rule out increasing VAT?
A reason.
I know, but can you rule it out?
The manifesto stands, and it stands for a reason. Look, I'm not going to, on this programme, 2 months ahead of the budget, to go through it line by line.
Sorry, I just want to translate this. You will not increase VAT in the budget.
The manifesto that we stood on made those commitments around VAT, income tax and national insurance, and we did that for a good reason, and that reason continues to exist.
And she seems to have no idea how much Labour's new plan to get 18 to 24-year-olds into work and off benefits is actually going to cost us.
How much will it cost? Particularly this guarantee, how much will it cost in year one? Chancellor.
All of the money I will set out in the budget, but the skills and the training, that's already been allocated through the budget and through the spending review that I set out just before the summer.
So we do know what it's costing, year one?
I'm going to set all that out in the budget, Nick, because that's the time when we set out all of the numbers.
Meanwhile, Torsten Bell, the bloke who seems to want to tax the air you breathe, was caught out being very mean to Ed Davey.
But what Britain needs to tackle Farage is a vision, and the vision they need is not a fat bloke in a wetsuit, which is what the Lib Dems have got to offer.
Sadiq Khan was busy using the only phrases he knows how to say.
Looking around this diverse room, Donald Trump's worst nightmare! Well, it's a pleasure to have a great night, and remember, diversity is our greatest strength. It makes us...
There have been protests outside. There's been protests inside.
We're introducing new legislation to put our economic security first.
After 2 years of genocide, mass starvation of Palestinians.
We understand.
And as before, we've spoken about the two major scandals. So that could have seen Sir Keir have to sack his Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, and whatever went on with that donkey field in Surrey.
Parents, many years ago, did you put it into a trust?
No, I didn't. I bought a field for my mum and my dad because they love donkeys.
Just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, yesterday it was revealed Sir Keir is the least popular Prime Minister in history. Labour conference is proving what we already knew. This government is an absolute shower.
We're living in a time of what feels like pretty significant social change, and it makes us question things that we've even taken for granted for decades. And one of those at the moment that people are wondering about is actually money. Is the money in your bank account safe? Should you be investing elsewhere? Are we looking at a potential global crash? What will it mean for your savings? Is there a way that you could be using your money that might be outside of government control even? Well, TallyMoney is potentially one solution. So I'm delighted to say that I'm joined today by the CEO and founder of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. What is TallyMoney?
Well, at TallyMoney, you basically get gold you can spend. So we give people an individual account in their name, everyday account. They get a sort code, an account number. They use that account just like they would pounds from their bank, but it's milligrams of gold that we brand as Tally.
Okay. Why would you do that, though? What is the benefit to the customer instead of just having a normal pound sterling account?
Gold's performance against the pound is above 11% per annum over the last 25 years on average. But we still need money in our daily lives, and we have savings. We know that it's good common sense and prudent to save up for things, not just live in credit. You know, whether it's a holiday or a rainy day, your retirement planning, you need to have money in your life, basically, that you can rely on, that's dependable, that nobody meddles with, that nobody can weaponise against you, which is another element of government control when it's the government currency, which we could talk about another time. And it should be pretty simple and straightforward, and that's what we deliver at Tally. And really, we just want people to feel safe and happy with their money. There was a time when the bigger your bank balance, the more confident you felt. Now it's like, I need to do something with it. I can't leave it there. In Tally, you can.
Okay, brilliant. Cameron Parry from TallyMoney, thank you so much.
Thank you, Bev.
Let's get the thoughts of my panel. We've got acting deputy comment editor at The Telegraph, Poppy Coburn, journalist and broadcaster Benjamin Butterworth, and Reform member, former chairman of the Tory party, former cabinet minister Sir Jake Berry. Poppy, I'll start with you on this. I mean, that is an absolute cluster, isn't it, that's taking place there at Labour Party conference?
It's been amazing. I mean, I've only just got back from the conference, and yet it felt like it was almost a week long, just because there was so much that seemed to be happening outside of the conference hall, not necessarily actually inside of it. I mean, the degree of anger that has been directed towards this government, it makes you think, how is this 14 months in government versus 14 years? Like, it is unbelievable, the scale of anger. I mean, Andy Burnham was holding court. He's obviously made his, unofficial leadership challenge to Keir Starmer. So he was walking around with a retinue of people who were following him about. Rachel Reeves looked like a school child. She looked completely out of her depth, completely pale, wooden. Keir Starmer was kind of grinning like a lunatic the whole time, as if he wasn't aware of the predicament he's got, and he hasn't even done his big speech yet. So you just get the feeling that this is a government that's already fallen apart. Last year their conference was not bad, because they just won this massive majority. Yes, there was the Lord Ali scandal, but everyone was like, that's going to go away and we'll be able to get this together. I don't really think anyone can honestly now look at the conference and say that. No,
it's a complete shower. Jay, we're going to talk at the top of the next hour about Shabana Mahmood's big immigration announcement that, had Nigel Farage announced it, Sir Keir Starmer would have called racist. But we've got a housing minister who doesn't know how many homes he's built. We've also got a chancellor who can't give us any detail when it comes to VAT hikes or her new plan to get young people employed. I mean, this has been awful.
Well, look, what I was really struck by, there's two things about this government. I mean, Rachel Reeves is so bad. She basically has two modes. I'm wooden or I'm outraged. And there's nothing in between that. She is so bad, clearly doesn't have a clue what she's talking about. She is just trying to do the old three-tumbler trick. There's big tax rises coming and she just doesn't want to tell anyone about it. So I think it's been a disaster of a conference, but I also think what's really interesting about it is the Labour Party is having a civil war.
Yeah.
I mean, very quietly, they are there saying, we should do this, should it be Andy Burnham? I know a lot of people are now saying Ed Miliband's going to be the next Prime Minister. I mean, crikey, when he stood to be Prime Minister, the British public sent him packing. They are a party that's having a civil war. They don't know what to do. They keep announcing these things, like, oh, let's try and do something really popular, like force everyone to carry ID cards. Oh, no, that's not popular. It's a complete shambles. And the real tragedy is taking place where over 1,000 people crossed the Channel the weekend that the Labour Party conference started. A few days before the conference started, we had David Lammy come out and say it's completely unacceptable, the court system's completely broken in this country. We know it's unacceptable, David. What are you going to do about it? So they are fighting and fiddling while Britain burns. And that's a tragedy for the British people and GB News viewers.
Yeah, I mean, Benjamin, what this conference has shown is they can't govern the country, they can't govern themselves.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that Jake would know a lot about civil wars, having been in a Tory government for years.
I do. But it took the Tories 14 years to pull apart. They've managed it in 14 months. Well, it's spectacular. We should be congratulating them on their incompetence.
Well, I think when you were chairman of the Tory party, it took 49 days for it to fall apart, so I'm not sure I'd take lectures. Look, I actually think it looked like there was going to be a civil war, and it's actually bubbled a lot less than I expected. So Andy Burnham has obviously been on manoeuvres. Andy Burnham is the self-assigned king of the North. Yeah. You could not have less of a team player than Andy Burnham. Let me tell you, as someone from Manchester, he is not popular at all with his colleagues.
Keir more than half of Labour members want him to be leader.
Keir Starmer and him have had beef for many years. It's not new. Now, I've actually been intrigued. By today, Andy Burnham was backing down. He was saying that there's unfair levels of criticism.
Burnham, by the way.
Yeah, he's...
vintage Burnham.
Yeah, he flip-flops more than anybody. So I think there isn't a civil war, actually. And also, some of the things they've been focusing on are exactly what the country needs. So building houses has been a central goal.
How many did they build?
They're announcing 300,000 new towns in places like Milton Keynes.
How many did they build last year?
We're not
you
doing
don't know.
We're not doing a Camilla
the
Tominey.
housing minister. It's not bad Benjamin. No, the housing minister.
We're not doing a Camilla Tominey. But the other part is, as well, is that they're talking about things like getting young people in work. This is all the right stuff.
OK, fine. But when it comes to detail, if you went on to Dragon's Den, that show there, if you went there and they were asking you questions about your own business, let's say you were in construction and you said, right, we're going to build some houses, and Deborah Meaden says, well, how many houses? And you said, wow, don't know. You'd get laughed out of there, but we're being run by these people, aren't we?
They've only just figured out where they actually want the houses to go. You know, they've already had a year in power. I mean, the two things you brought up that they're doing that is good, the house building scheme, well, that's a complete waste of time when 98% of our population increase in the last couple of years has come from immigration, which is a highly volatile political issue that people don't even want in the first place. So who are you building those houses for? Is it actually going to fix the housing crisis? No, but they haven't done anything to fix it, have they?
Well,
the second thing about getting young people into work, there was statistics today in the Telegraph, it only affects 1 in 12 people. 1 in 12 people will be affected. We don't even know how much of an impact that's actually going to have.
Even say how much it was going to cost. She said, I've announced the money for it.
Exactly.
They said, well, how much are you going to spend? She said, well, I can't tell you that.
You know,
she doesn't know.
And this is not a right-wing attack, by the way, because I was talking to a left-wing friend of mine at the conference, and she said, after Rachel Reeves' speech, I could not understand how you are the Chancellor of this country with all of the economic problems you have, and you're coming out with these small fry schemes that you would expect from a local councillor to come up with, like, you know, we're going to do more bin collection schemes. Sorry,
Going to have
burning.
But I'm quite relieved by that, because, I mean, there isn't much money to go around, and that was going to be the case whoever took power in the last 14 months. And so she can't announce something big. If she were doing what Andy Burnham wanted, which is £40 billion for council houses, well, you know, it would cause terrible problems for the public finances. So I'm quite glad she's sensible. And, you know, 300,000 homes. Yes, we've had lots of immigration. They're trying to cut that, but finally building houses. The reason we have a crisis is because it didn't happen for 15, 20 years, in truth.
Is this terminal for Keir Starmer? He went into this conference, conveniently this poll was announced as the conference started, showing he is the least popular Prime Minister in history since records began. Is this terminal now?
I mean, he's got a long time. I suppose arguably he could turn it round, but my view is he's a dead man walking.
Your views, is this it?
I mean, you put it pretty well. I think of all of the prime ministers in our history who've had their moments of unpopularity before, I mean, Margaret Thatcher in 1981, seems she couldn't pull it back from the brink. The problem is that Keir Starmer doesn't have one thing that he can point to. Now, look, Deus Ex Machina, who knows, we might be ending up at war with the way the country's going in the next couple of years, but this is not looking good for them.
It's all on his speech tomorrow, isn't it? You know, if he has another release the sausages moment, this is the thing. He's going to be there tomorrow. He's got to give his speech. It is a speech to try to save his premiership, isn't it?
I suspect
he's not got it in him.
I suspect
a rare photograph there of his wife smiling. You know, he's not got it in him, has he?
I suspect the speech will be fine. He's sort of pretty reliable on those things, but it won't set the world on fire. But what I will tell you is that, you know, I know one Labour MP who was called into Downing Street to meet Morgan McSweeney, the right-hand man, a couple of weeks ago. This MP was quite annoyed. They're not on the left of the party. And he came out after having an explanation of how Keir Starmer will fix the government. And he went back to his office and he told me that he started crying because he doesn't believe they can fix the problem they've got.
His policy was a free donkey for every house.
How pathetic is that? I mean, we're being led by idiotic,
we're being led by donkeys.
Babies.
We are being led by donkeys.
Or people who like
sorry, have we forgotten they have a massive parliamentary majority? The idea that they can't do anything is ridiculous. The problem is the Prime Minister has no backbone.
And by the way, Morgan McSweeney might be out on his backside soon if some of these allegations turn out to be true. But anyway, he denies them.